Hello, 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 everybody. You are in the right place. I know this is a little different for you, but this is the Manifest on Purpose show, and this is the weekly wisdom. And I am your host, Kimbaley. I'm still here to elevate your mind and to feed your soul with wisdom. We're going to do that here today. Things are going to be a little different. As you can see, I've been shifting things up, transitioning. Today is going to be an today is going to be an epic episode for the Manifest on Purpose show, because since 2021, this is the very first live stream of the Manifest on Purpose show. So I am so excited. Thank you for watching this. If you're listening to this, please consider checking out the weekly wisdoms that I will be doing live from here on out. We're going to get into that, but first, I want to say thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for your support. Thank you for inviting people. And please don't forget to subscribe here and on the website at manifestonpurpose.net. And there's another transition that I want to tell you about also. That transition is about a new podcast that I have coming up. The newest podcast that will start on Sunday, September the 22nd. And this podcast is entitled Astro-Numerology Reveal. For the time being, you will be able to see those episodes right here. This has been a passion for me. I've been practicing numerology for over a year and a half now, and it's really become a passion for me. And so I decided to not only talk more about numerology, but to bring some of the current numerologists and astrologers in to help us dig deeper into these ancient sciences. So be mindful of that and check that out when that starts up. Today is going to be the weekly wisdom, and I'll get into that in a moment. But first, we have to hear our Astro-Numerology forecast for today. And that forecast is courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. It is Sunday, September the 15th. The sun is in Virgo. The moon is in Aquarius. It's an 8 universal month, an 11 universal week, a 5 universal day. Today is likely to bring about a meaningful change in just about every area of your life at this moment, particularly in the areas of family, relationships, and finance to a greater or lesser degree. And if you happen to be in search of money, gifts, and favors from others, it's certainly expected in today's chart as well. The key is to unlock this, however, to be a person of your word, and that your actions and deeds be in the best interest of others as well as yourself. Gemini, Virgo, and those born on the 5th, the 14th, and 23rd of the month seems to be in the best position to capitalize on the situation. And once again, that is the Astro-Numerology forecast for today, courtesy of Astro-Numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can find that app at astar8.com. You can also go to Google Play or the App Store to download it, or you can go to Linktree/numbers and you, where you can also have access to some of his other exclusive services and products, especially the monthly newsletter. You don't want to miss that. The monthly newsletter has a whole lot of information in it. So make sure that you check that out as well. Also, there's something else that I want to discuss today before we get into the weekly wisdom. And coming up, we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces. So I just want to read the report for you to tell you what you can expect during this lunar eclipse. This report is courtesy of Astromatrix. It's the lunar eclipse in Pisces, and they titled it Luminous Rebirth's Grace. It happens on September the 17th at 1:34 a.m. It's the beginning of eclipse season with a powerful emotionally charged full moon lunar eclipse lighting up the skies on September the 17th, September the 18th in other countries. This also just happens to be a super moon, the second of four in a row, making this eclipse especially powerful and intense. In ancient astrologists, in ancient astrology, eclipses were seen as portals opening into past lives, especially lunar eclipses. The veil is especially thin during these cosmic storms. Because of this, past life memories, lessons, and wounds may drift in, which could feel confusing and painful at first. Nevertheless, as with all eclipses, this is a golden cosmic opportunity to do deep healing. The new moon of September the 2nd prepared us for this. It reminded us to clean up our acts and create the space needed for what the Pisces eclipse is bringing us: release, purging, and surrendering. That sounds like Pisces. Pisces tend to feel all the pain in the world, making this an even more sensitive eclipse. We may find the hurts of the world unbearable at this time, which could drive us into numbness, reaching for escape mechanisms, disassociation, and avoidance. The dark side of Pisces, in other words. Or we could step up and take full responsibility. We can tune into the energies of Saturn, so close by to this eclipse, and choose those escapes that serve us rather than harm us. Those types are nature, music, art, meditation, or yoga. We can choose to transmute the nebulous energies of Neptune and use this planet's energy for deep self compassion in the face of our own personal storms. We can choose to surrender to the divine plan rather than attempting to control the situation, which will only lead to confusion, anxiety, and feeling lost. Our higher selves are taking the wheel now. Eclipses are notorious for moving energy, for taking away one thing and giving us another. Placing faith in the bigger picture is what will guide us through what seems blurry and uncertain. The sextiles to both Pluto and Uranus from the moon offer opportunities for deep transformation, evolution, and freedom. These Titan planets are aligned perfectly at this point, illuminating a greater generational picture than we could ever have imagined. The eclipse is not just about us, it's about global healing, global surrender, global compassion. When we see our suffering as part of the human condition, we cultivate a deeper love and sensitivity towards ourselves and everyone in our field. This is pure cosmic love at its finest. This is the oneness that Pisces craves. On a personal level, allowing emotions to move through us and for the cards to fall where they may is the best way to work through this lunar eclipse. Tempering growth with limitation is key. Knowing what we are being tested about. Our commitment is being tested, our willingness to create boundaries with empathy. Empathy is one of the lessons being learned. There's so much love pouring in to pleasure is there also, and perhaps in the most unexpected of places. Whew, that was a mouthful. I'm glad you stuck around for that. But what that really means, what it's saying to me as this is the time for us to release control. Sometimes we go through situations and we feel like we are the ones that should be in control every single time. And that's not necessarily the case. The best thing to do sometimes is to release and let things flow the way that they're supposed to be. Esther Hicks talked about flowing with the current instead of trying to flow against the current. So whatever's going on in your life during this time, and it may be something emotional, it may be something dealing with how you feel, because Pisces is a water sign. It's dealing with emotions. So whatever it may be, make sure that you be the calm during this storm so that you can get through on the other side. So that was the eclipse, the lunar eclipse forecast, courtesy of Astro-Matrix. And I'll put that down in the description. So if you want to check that out, you can see that for yourself. So today is the weekly wisdom. And for those of you who don't know about the weekly wisdom is basically me reading the energy for the week so that we can know what we should watch out for. Now, we know we got this eclipse energy. So that's one of the things we need to keep in mind, release. And what I do with the weekly wisdom is I pull an oracle card. And on that oracle card, there's a number. So I put the number with the card, the numerical meaning of the card, what the book says about the card, and what my intuition tells me about the card. And that gives us the energy for the week. So this week, I'm going to be using one of my favorite decks, Trust Your Vibes. And the reason why I really like doing this, card just jumped out. And the reason why I like doing this live is because of the fact you can see me actually shuffling the cards. I'm not manipulating the cards anyway. So whatever falls out is the energy that we get. And this is the energy we get for this week. Instant feedback number 9. I'm going to read the book description. And the reason why I read the book description is sometimes people need to hear it in 2 ways in order to get it, that confirmation. The book says it's time to expand your 6 sensory toolkit and learn to use muscle testing, as it means to get instant vibe check on matters at hand. Muscle testing offers quick and reliable feedback when you can't access or don't trust your normal intuitive channels. The simplest way to muscle test is to find a partner who is willing to work with you. Next, place your right hand on your belly and raise your left arm out to the side. Think of your question, making certain it can be answered with a simple yes or no. With your question in mind, ask your partner to push gently down on your extended arm using the pressure of no more than 2 fingers. If the answer is yes, your arm will resist the pressure and remain strong and unmoved. If your answer is no, your arm will lose energy and power and drop to the side. It's that simple. Remember, the key is yes or no answers. Try it right now and see for yourself. To me, I feel like that muscle testing is symbolic. And when we talk about the number 9, the number 9 talks about passion. The number 9 also talks about taking the lead about things. And with the number 9 can be kind of impatient. And we all can be impatient at times. So what we have to really do, and what this energy is saying, is that we need to take more time to be patient. And I like how it flows in with this reading of this lunar eclipse, because during this lunar eclipse, the forecast is really telling you that this is the time that you should fall back because we feel like, and you think about the number 9 energy, the Mars energy, we feel like we should move forward, we should resist, even when things are requiring us to fall back. So this right here is letting me know that we have to be patient about anything that comes to us during this week. We have to be able to sit within ourselves, and we have to be able to figure out what's going on, what's happening. One thing about number 9 people, and they have the ability to be impulsive, especially when speaking. And I know someone that is a number 9 that is kind of impulsive. And the way that I tell that person is that you really need to, instead of being so impulsive, take a moment to think about what's happening before you speak. And a lot of times that's what happens. We get panicked about things, and we make us make rash decisions and choices that end up not being the best choices for us because we're not taking that time to fall back. And that's the thing about this card too. And when you think about the number 9, and we talk about this lunar eclipse, that's what Pluto does. Pluto is going to move forward with whatever things that you've been holding on to, that you need to be letting go of. Pluto's like, give me that. Let me have that. You go ahead about your business. I'm going to take it the best way I can and make you move up to the next level. We get several tries to get things right in our life. That's when we're holding on to something. And that's another 9 energy. Holding on, getting rid of those things that we know that are not serving us. Holding on to those things, and it's preventing us from moving forward. And when you think about that Pisces energy, that Pisces energy is saying, if you can't let go, I'm going to bring something into your life that's going to make you let it go. So this also lets you know that during this week, you need to be focused on letting go. That's a part of falling back too. Sometimes we hold on to things forever that we know serve no purpose in our lives at all. And the only thing that these things are doing to us really is like holding us back from what we really, really want to do. So this is the time for you to fall back. This is the time for you to let go. And so I'm going to read one more card, and this is going to be the advice card for the week. I'm just going to cut the deck. This is the number 2 card. This card says play. This card says play, and number 2 also says patience. So what that really means is during this time when you're letting go, just focus on things that you enjoy doing. You don't have to pay attention to the storm that's around you. Focus on the things that you really, really love to do. And I think that one of the greatest things that you can do when you're going through something, instead of continuing to focus on that one thing, start doing something that you love to do. And after a while, you'll just forget all about what's going on in the moment. And while you've forgotten about it, things are continuing to flow in your life, and they will come together as they are supposed to. And what I like to tell people is when it gets to that point, when it feels like everything is being stripped away, things are at the worst for you, those are the times that are really opening up the door for opportunities to come into your life. When you get to that moment where you feel like you can't take it anymore, then a lot of times that's when things start to happen in the way that you want to. People look at these things as challenges, but they're not really challenges. I think they're shifts. We're going from one level to the next. And in order to go from one level to the next, it's called elevation. And when you elevate or grow, you're going to have to go through something. And that something is what I like to be called a shift. It's just a change in pace because you're going up to something different and you're not used to it. That's why you feel like it's the worst thing that ever happened. And with me, I look back sometimes at those things that I felt like was really like the worst thing that ever happened to me. And I think, how did I get through that? In the moment, I couldn't see a way out. I didn't see how I was going to overcome. But once I fell back, laid low, and became patient, that's when things start working out in my favor. So, one thing I want to do before I close out is read an affirmation. Read an affirmation to help you get through the week. And this is something I already had picked out before we started. And this is right for the reading. If you get tired, learn to rest, not to quit. I tell a lot of people, just because you hear a no, just because things aren't going your way, that doesn't mean that it's time for you to give up. It doesn't mean that it's time for you to walk away. It doesn't mean things are not going to happen the way that you want to. It's just a yield sign. It's just telling you, hold on for a second. So if you're in that space right now that you feel like everything is kind of like upside down and you don't know what you're going to do, this message is really telling you to hold on, take a break, and be patient. Well, that's my reading for today. Thank you so much for your time and energy. Until next time.